Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to make a drum and bass track from start to finish. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, or what I'm going to do is show you a track I already made. I'm going to play it through and then show you how I made everything, which usually goes pretty good. So, something you'd find on Monstercat. It's like a really 2014, 2015 kind of sound. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then I'll show you how I made it. There too. I'm going to start it from here. So let's get started. So actually when I made this track, I started with the drop because I was just practicing drum and bass loops, and whenever I make a drum and bass song, well, whenever I make any song, I start with the bass and the drums always and get them moving forward, and then I'll start building around that. Like especially like with house and trap, it's like all the same for me. So like I'll start with the bass and drum. So I don't know if I want to start. I'll just show you the beginning first. It's more logical, and then I'll show you how I made the drop. So it starts out. Let's see what we got. So it starts out, I got these pianos as my leads. For this piano, I was using the Kontakt 5, the Giant. It's like my favorite piano I've ever heard. Real simple chords right here, if you want to pause it and get those. I like the way they sounded, and like, I didn't play those with my hands, I just clicked them all in. So we got those going. And then I went from those, and then I added atmospheres right here. So what this sound is from Reactor 5. This is all in all in Komplete 10, which I bought, and it was like the greatest purchase I've ever made in my life. This sound is called Arctic Winds in Prism, and I automated it. To do that, and then I added this little pad, which is also in Reactor Spark Prism, which again, I got all this stuff from Komplete 10. I think I paid like $500 for it, but it was like the best thing I ever bought. Like, you get so much shit in Komplete 10, it's ridiculous. Very atmospheric, very cool. I love that sound. So I think that's it for right there, and then we move on, and then move up to here. I added these leads because I wanted to introduce the sound that the drop was going to sound like. So I started them all the way here, and what it looks like I did was, yeah, I automated the cutoff, so they're actually really quiet here, a lot more quiet than when they get to the drop, because I wanted them to introduce themselves. So I started it at like 50% cutoff, and then just pretty much opened it all the way up to the drop. So that's what they sound like there, and this is what they sound like at the drop. Yeah. So that's a cool sound. Again, it's from the same place, like the same bank of sounds that I just go crazy with. I try not to overuse them, but you know, sometimes I can't help it, like, because I love them so much. And to make it cut off, like to this automation right here, this blue line, is automating the cutoff knob in the auto filter. So you can see as this moves forward, the cutoff opens. What else do I got? I don't know what the point of doing that was. I really don't. Sometimes I just don't know what I do. And you can see I actually automated the volume too, so it's a little lower in the beginning, and then it's higher when it reaches up here. So then let's move on to here. Same bank of sounds, same instrument from Reactor 5 Prism. See, I have it panned to the right ear, so it's only in your right ear. I would have did more panning effects, but I got real lazy with this song, and I'll show you why. The reason I got lazy with it is because it was just a practice song that I was going to send to my brother and ask for feedback, but he ended up liking it and told me to put it out, so I was like, fuck it, I'll put it out. But I got late. Usually with those songs I get real lazy, so I left a lot of things empty, but it ended up working. I still liked it. So let's move on to this little effect here. Okay, so right there is just a cymbal effect from the Loopmasters sample pack, the Deadmau5 Loopmaster sample pack. It's a really old sample pack. It's been out for a long time. And what I did was I jacked the reverb on it for 8 seconds. And you can see I put it pretty high here. And what also made it do that nice wishy-washy thing was the echo, which is at an 89% like repeat thing, which means it goes for a very long time, and 70% wet. So I'll show you what it sounds like with and without. And without those effects, watch this. Yeah, so I say like get really used to using echoes and reverb and like delays when you're trying to make a big washy noise like that, because it's just real nice. So these have nothing to do with anything down here. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, I thought they were an invisible kick. This is that little girl saying go. I forgot about that. Here, I'll show you what I did here. That's like so important, and I almost forgot to show you that, because that's why I named the song She Said Go, because there's a woman's voice saying go. And the it's actually from the song Lean On by Major Lazer. I chopped her saying go, and if I turn all this shit off, you can probably hear her voice saying go. 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 Yeah, so what I did was I had to adjust the pitch up 8 semitones and then the formant up 4 semitones to make it sound like a child, or like that high pitch sound you hear in like a lot of trap songs, like that high pitch vocal cut. So I did that with that, and then reverb, obviously, delay, which makes it go in ear, like echo into your ears. Auto filter, you see that, to make the voice get louder for a nice progression. I don't know why I went so crazy here. I want to see what the difference is, though. I'm curious. Shit. Huh. I don't know. Maybe I was just feeling myself. Couldn't tell you. Oh yeah, this is important. Clip distortion. That's how you get that really distorted sound. It makes the sound fuller. It makes your stereos fill up more, and I think it makes vocal cuts sound really cool sometimes, and obviously a compressor. Alright, so let's move on to the next section, and I'll show you what I did here. Alright, so let's do these 2 bars, or however many bars, 8 bars. Obviously the leads up top. Already showed you those. And I'll show you the notes, actually. I didn't show you these notes that I used. It's those notes, very simple. And then let's move down to the piano. get that real nice sound where it's like that pluck, I have these top ones like a little bit past these first ones. See these bass notes, and then the top ones are a little past bass note, and the top one a little past. It sounds cool, and it sounds like you're actually playing it. So that's how I did that. And to be honest, they're just random notes that sounded good. There was nothing, no form or anything that went into that. No no skill. It's just like whatever sounded good, I just kind of put in, and it worked. So these drums, I will show you how I made these. So these got a couple effects on them, a couple automation effects. The cutoff opens, so it's real quiet down there, and then, but they never fully open because I wanted the fully open drums to come in the drop, so it sounds a lot. So the drop sounded a lot bigger and it was a lot more satisfying. If I left these open in the break, it wouldn't. The drop wouldn't have sounded like as satisfying as it does. And I think this drop sounds really, really full and good compared to the break, and that was the sound I was going for. And to do that is I left a lot of the master, like the master EQ. I left it like really quiet up here in the breaks, so when the drop came, I could fill this up and it would sound really, really big. So that's really what I went for, and to help me out with that is I just cut a lot of my sounds off. So, and then these drums being one of them, and I'll show you how I made this loop. This drum loop is actually the same drums I used in the drop. And I used a lot of fucking drum. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, okay, there's the kick. This is an invisible kick. Biz. To make the song done. Yeah, this is pretty much how I made this drop. Too. I will go back to this break, but I'm showing you how I made that drum loop. So right now it started. I did start with a kick, and then the snare, and then I put this constant hi-hat in, and then I layered, or I didn't layer yet. I just threw another hi-hat. I threw the same thing, the same hi-hat in a new layer, and turn the volume down. And then I went down here and I had some kicker snares. I think they're kicker snare. Nah, they're just they're different hi-hats. Not they're like layer hi-hats. So I put these right on top of these. Oh shit. Yeah, so I layered those, and I was gonna layer them more, but again I got lazy. And when I put all the sounds in the drop, it sounded good. Like it sounded really good. And it didn't sound like I needed to add anything else. Like I usually layer them once full center, and then I put another 2 layers on like right ear and then left ear. But I didn't do that in this song because I didn't really feel like I needed to. Okay, so this is a shaker, if you can hear it. Okay, and then I put, I don't know what this is. Oh, okay, so it's the attack of a snare, if you can hear it. You can just barely hear it, but it just adds for fullness, adds for atmosphere. Then I added kicker snares. So like they're those side snares that are quiet, but you still hear them. And that is the full drum loop. Pretty much I used the Vengeance dubstep sample pack, and I used a couple samples from Native Instruments, and then a few samples from Loopmaster. So not like a wide variety of samples, but like they worked. I liked them. So, and made the song turn out good. So then what I did to get these drums here, right here, is I bounced these out and then just put them right here in a single layer. So it's like all those drums. And then I added this auto filter, cut it off 50% in the beginning, and then open it as it progresses, you see. So without it, it sounds just like that drum loop. And then I added Space Designer, which looks like I didn't even touch, so I probably forgot. Oh yeah, I added some length, but I usually open this density envelope or volume envelope, but I don't know, I didn't. And then I EQ'd the lows out, some of the lows out, because again, I didn't want this break to be too powerful as opposed to the drop, because I wanted the drop to be really big and strong. So I took the lows out of there. So let's move it on down, and these pad things, which you guys probably have questions about. This is important, so pay attention. This is an invisible kick right here. You don't hear it, but it's there and it's doing something. I'm gonna turn these off real quick. See, it's there, but it's doing that much shit. Like, you don't hear it, but I added it to bus 3 to make these sounds up here duck. So watch, I'll show you these without the invisible kick. Alright, and how I did that was I went to each one of these layers and got the compressor and I sidechained it to bus 3 and just made it duck as hard as I could, like to each one of them. Sidechain to bus 3, make it duck as hard as I could. The sounds I used were all, again, the prism, all reactor prism. All 4 of these layers, these pad layers. So, yeah, not much skill went into that. And then I'll show you the, if you really want to, I'll show you the notes that I used for a couple. So for this one, pretty full chords. So the first 2 are two notes, and then the second 2 are these 3-note chords. For progression, I didn't want to have 3 chords in the beginning and then 3 chords at the end because I wanted it to fill up as it got closer to the drop. Like, I really take that progression part seriously. So that's what those sound like. They sound really cool. Like, they're awesome. I love those sounds. So then I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, the bass. So what I did for bass is I made it myself. It's in Sylenth 1. I'll circle. So what I did for that one was all pulse waves, I think. Yeah, pulse wave, and then my last wave was a square. I can't really walk through how to show you how I made this. I'll briefly show you because it would just take too much time. But it is a really awesome bass sound that I can't, like, took me a while to get, but like I really liked it. And then I wanted it to like bend up when it switches notes, so I mono legato, like put the porto up quite a bit so you can hear it obviously bend. Filter A and B are cut off. High resonance, like really high resonance. and then I automated the cutoff so it opens a little bit. Here, I'll show you what the sound actually sounds like when you. I have no clue what I had it on, but whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing fancy down here. It's just it. I EQ'd it, compressed it with this, and compressed it out here. Don't really know why I did that. And I cut the lows a little bit, looks like. Again, the reason for that was because I wanted the full bass sound to come in the drop instead of in the progression. So, yeah. That's just an empty region. I have no clue why it's there. Yeah, just a white noise sweep again with this. Add a white noise wave and don't even gotta touch anything. Just add a white noise wave and then a low pass filter, and then space designer and low cut a equalizer so you get no like muddy lows when this is opening. Because when you leave the lows like uncut, it gets really muddy. Makes your lows really muddy. So this automation I have opening is obviously a cutoff automation. It's automating this knob. So let's move on to here. So that's basically a really happy chord, and I ran it through the whole entire drop, and it's just like it's like a really happy sound. Like you could put like any melodic bass line under that, and it just always sounds good if you're in key and everything. For the first layer, nothing fancy, just saw wave detuned, cut off. And then for this one was a preset from Nexus, from an expansion pack, and it's the Hands Up Leads Volume 2 or 1. It's one of those, I don't know. But it's that lead. So I think I showed you everything, and I really hope I'm doing. Oh yeah, and obviously I automated the cutoff on these, or automated the volume and cutoff. So obviously you see the volume increasing, and cutoff is in the beginning. These are cut off because again I didn't want the master EQ really full up here. I wanted it like empty up here. Because it was going to fill up in the drop. The drop was going to handle that. And to make it more satisfying, I was just trying to have as many sounds before the drop cut off as possible. So when the drop came, I could open everything like wide open and it would just be like really like awesome. See, even that's cut off. White noise didn't even fully open. Bass is obviously cut off. But yeah, all my sounds are not really screaming in terms of highs. So when the drop came, it was just really satisfying. So obviously I got a drum roll in. Nothing fancy, just reverb, cutoff, auto filter cutoff knob is automating. Then, oh yeah, the little girl saying go. And then you see here, like, how it gets pretty complicated right before the drop. Because the drop starts at 33, but you see me volume cutting at 32. I'm going to show you what that means. I cut all the volumes right before the drop, and like I want to tell you, that is like the best trick I've ever learned, because it like takes all the sound right out of your ear like a split second before the drop, and so when the drop hits, it like explodes. It makes it like way louder. So like had I kept all of these volumes uncut right before the drop, the drop would have been like way less satisfying. So like that's really important. Like if you want to like try something like on your own and like just like mess around with it, I really recommend volume cutting, like in little breaks like that, and just like try to like hear the difference. It's like really awesome, like the difference it makes. Like I'll show you how all the volume just gets cut off right when the drop drops, or right before the drop comes. Yeah, so it gets really quiet there, and then I just leaked these leads in right before it. So I got a lot of layers in this drop, so I'm going to get started. So the way I made the drop was drum and bass up. So I made the drum and bass, got that moving forward, which is how I make all my songs. Like I start with the bass and the drums and then build up, because your goal with a song like this, like a really loud like banger like this, is build the song around the bass line. And when you do that, like you have way more leverage on how loud like other sounds actually are. So yeah, I just made the bass the center of the mix, and then just added around it. Like added drums first, because I suck at drums. So if I do drums first, and get them moving forward with the bass, then I can move forward. If they don't move forward, then I don't move forward. So this is actually what you're hearing when you hear that. And I'm gonna play the invisible kick too, because the invisible kick on this is like so important, because it ducks. These are two presets that I made in Sylenth. I'll try. So open up Sylenth. It's just a sine wave, and then a little bit of a saw wave. So like there's one voice of a saw wave, and then versus 8 voices of sine. Low pass, so you don't hear too much of the saw wave. So I'll show you it open. Yeah, see, like, so I wanted that's what I wanted. Like I didn't want to hear too much of that crispiness from the saw wave. And the cutoff right here, the modulation envelope, makes it do that little how to explain it? It makes it like do that. It just helps out the ducking, because it makes the attack less punchy, so it actually sounds like it's ducking even without like invisible kick. But with the invisible kick, it just sounded a lot stronger. And then I added overdrive to beefing it up, so without it sounds like. So it adds like strong, like just makes it like stronger. And then I added this raspy high end to the bass line. which you don't really hear, but it like does something for me. So I have that ducking with the invisible kick, and it's just the Sylenth 1 preset that I made a while ago. It's a square wave and a saw wave, just with a bunch of shit done to it. Distorted, obviously. It's real raspy. So I'll play this with the kick, and then, because I have it ducking with the kick and with the invisible kick, so I think there's 2 compressors on each bass line. So every time a kick hits, the bass line actually ducks out. It's not that noticeable because it's already ducking from these, and so like just it's all over the place really. So I got those, and then I already showed you how I made the drums. So I'm gonna show you what else I got going. I'll play everything that I showed you. And then we'll just fuck that, because I gotta unmute everything. So here's I got the ouch, those are real loud. Yeah, those are what I layered the first lead with. So if you remember, I showed you this one earlier. I layered them when the drop came. This is a preset again from Prism. And then, so I got that going, and then let's move it on down to these, which I showed you already. So I showed you the bass, and then the leads. Just simple chord, but like very uplifting. If you can like get this chord down and nail the bass line, it lifts your spirits a lot. And I showed you how I made those. So what else we got? Gonna mute these all, and then move on to like another group of sounds. So we got all the atmosphere. So I got, yeah, the airy pad is one of them, and then the other one. And these two are same shit. Prism, Reactive Spark Prism, and then I obviously got my white noise. Loud, strong white noise, and then these, I muted these and never put them back in because I didn't like them, so I'm just going to take them out. Just to start the drop off, I got that, and then all the rest is drums, yeah. And that's all the drop really is. Real simple, but it works, and it's like real big. So I'll play this through till we get to the next section. Ooh, forgot to show you. Forgot to show you my little thing here. I made this in Sylenth 1 too. I made it myself. That pitchy thing is all done down here. You really gotta mess around to catch on to that, or watch tutorials on how to really use Sylenth to make it do stuff like that. But yeah, it's real simple. Just a sine wave too. need to do that, and then just when the end of the drop, like when the end of the first on at the end of every 8 bars, I tried to do like a little drum roll or something, some kind of like thing to just not make the listener bored. So this one was like a little just break in the drums, like so. Shit. Yeah. And then here was a little different one. See, these are basically it. Yeah, those are the two I added. And then, so let's go back here and, oh, no, I already showed you that shit. Yeah, and the atmospheres were, like, pretty much the only things changing throughout the length of the first half of the drop. You can see these chords I had just sitting through the whole thing, like, steady, not really changing. It's like my favorite sound in the world. So then on the second half of the drop, I just dropped the leads. Pretty much dropped the leads and kept it all the same. Fuck, dude. Yeah, so only thing really changing there is the bass line, which is the same as the beginning, and that's it. It's just the same thing without the leads, and the atmosphere sounds are keeping it character-y. Yeah, so that's like what I had built around the bass line, and then obviously all the drums that I showed you. So so now what I'm gonna say is I pretty much just duplicated the whole thing. Like I duplicated this whole section and just had that for the second section, and to change it up a little bit, like without changing it too hard, even though I should have changed it more because somebody told me it was repetitive, which it is because it's a song I made when I got lazy. I got lazy and didn't really feel like changing anything else, but if you remember this part of the break from the beginning, I had these drums in it. So I just took them out here. And then to change up this second drop, I changed up the kick and the snare. There's actually 2 times less snares hitting. So you see it's like these amount of snares for the first half of the drop, and then for the second half if you can see like all the snares I added here. I went back to the normal flow. So I really think that's it. Like how much I should show you out of this. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I pretty much answer everybody, or like email me or anything. Yeah. Hope you learned something from this. Give me feedback on the song too. It's on my SoundCloud.